pre-season friendly to mark their Manawatu Day celebrations. They've lost in the previous 2 years, back in 2022 and 2021. Last year, going down 2-0 to Vipers FC. Here's a quick look at those in charge of this match in terms of a refereeing capacity as we cut to Tseki and Arthur Zwane. The man in charge of proceedings will be Tatu Malogo from Tanga, the port city in the northeast of the country, who actually oversaw Banyana's 6-0 demolition at the hands of Brazil last year. That was out in Durban. They'll be assisted today by Frank Komba from Dar es Salaam and Yaneth Balama from Iringa in the Southern Highlands, a small town there. So a team photograph with all the young children who are led out with the team just for posterity's sake. These players have been paraded over the course of the last hour or so, especially the new recruits, of which there are 4 in the starting lineup, and the man who is warmly embracing, giving him Simango, that being Mahlati Makudubela, a South African who has just recently ventured outside of his own borders to take, I guess some may call it a big gamble, and go in search of new adventures in the East. And we wish him all the best in his career. Now you can see it is very much a friendly occasion. And someone who I'm very friendly with, usually. William Shongwe, a bona fide Kaizer Chiefs legend, is alongside me today. It's an absolute privilege to enjoy this match in your company, William.
Listen, it's a wonderful feeling to be a part of this opening game of Kaizer Chiefs. A Kaizer Chiefs that nobody, not a single soul, has seen them in action at this level. It's a competitive game. My only worry is that the jump from preparation stage to a competitive stage, and I can imagine the demand from the players, and the crowd is not going to make it any easier as well. There's a lot of pride at stake here, Grant, and I mean, these are giants of the Eastern Central region, and the Kaizer Chiefs are giants of the Kosafa region in as far as club football is concerned. So the competitive nature of this game is not going to be any less as people expect it to be a friendly.
Well, the noise inside this 60,000-seater stadium, absolutely deafening. Sold out for this match as we take you through the lineups now. And there are 4 new recruits in the 11 for young Africans under the new coach. Nixon Kipabage is in the lineup along with Maxton Zigele, a very exciting 22-year-olds that they recruited from Singida, Jonas Kude, and of course Mahlati Makudubela will be looking to regale the crowd. He was met with quite the reception when he was introduced to those in attendance, performed some tricks and flicks for them, and likely to become a fan favorite. So there's 6 new faces in the Chiefs lineup, including a new centre-half pairing, which you would imagine would persist throughout the season. Tato Ione Ditlokwe and given him Simango. New Venezuelan recruit Edson Castillo starts, whilst Pule Mori and Mdum Dansani are also introduced. Toboko Potsane has inherited Kama Billiards number 11, and he gets the chance to show his quality on the flank this evening. 7 p.m. local time, 6 o'clock in South Africa, where many Kaizer Chiefs fans would have tuned in. To thank you for joining us as the South African Mahlati Makudubela, who turned out with Marumo Gallants this past season, so young Africans would have had a good look at him in the CAF Confederation Cup. And quite a good season, a bit of a resurgence under Dylan Kerr with Marumo Gallants this past season. Makudubela scored arguably one of the goals of the campaign in the DSTV Premiership in a 3-1 win against Royal AM, running half of the field before slotting it away. He certainly has quality as Tatu Malogo gets us underway, and she's certainly familiar with being in charge of big occasions, and this is one, despite the fact that it's essentially only a friendly. But Wanawati Day celebrations are taken very seriously in these parts. Approaching 90 years in existence, this club formed in 1935. And they are truly one of the giants of course, East African football, but African football at large. The beaten finalists in the last iteration of the CAF Confederation Cup went down 2-1 to USM Alger. They are without the man whose goals got them to that showpiece, that being Fiston Mayele. There's a lot of interest in him, even from South Africa, but it appears, the latest whispers, that he will be heading to very ambitious Pyramids FC in Egypt.
And you can imagine, obviously, the impact he made during the Confederations Cup route towards the final. He will have gone through Pyramids. And a whole lot of these players, I mean, Makurubela's success or his notice came through that very same competition. And missing, of course, in today's game, we're not sure if he's still a part of the team, is Bernard Morrison, who also had a big impact in that route towards the final. Tanzaniain in the picture for you, donning that jersey for the first time, having come through the ranks of Kaizer Chiefs development, by the way. For those that maybe are not aware, finally makes his way back home.
So full circle for him, as was the case with Zita Kunika the season prior, also coming through the Kaizer Chiefs development ranks, not making the grade, shall we say, and continuing to plug away in professional football before getting that dream move.
I'm sure people like Atazwane would have worked with some of those players in the development structures, would be kicking himself now that the team has to pay a lot of money to get them back, having been a part of their development. I'm sure we can put in a big list of some of those that will have gone through the same route.
It's often the second choice goalkeeper last season, Mitacha Mnata. He's in between the sticks this evening. And I guess the same true of Kaizer Chiefs, you could even say. Last season, Itumle Nkune was third choice goalkeeper. Second, perhaps, he and Bruce Vuma mostly resigned to a spot on the bench over the course of the campaign, especially in the latter stages.
It's good that you mentioned the later stages of the season, because in the beginning, you couldn't tell who was the number one. I mean, it was just a change from game to game in that number one spot. It didn't just help the team at all to create an established back four and then the goalkeeper behind them.
Stealing in there is Pule Modi, wearing the number 13 jersey that he did wear at Le Montfort Golden Arrows, where he made quite an impact with both goals and assists over the last few seasons.
Very important for him to establish himself very quickly. It's still open. Remember, there's still a number of players in the Chiefs camp that are the club is waiting for, that maybe out due to injury, that are still recovering. Dolly's one.
Yeah, we can reel off a few of those names as the ball goes in early. Just under 4 minutes played. Last year, Young Africans were already down by a goal to nil 27 seconds into their match against Vipers FC. Got an opportunity there quickly to look at Miguel Gamondi. Won the league alongside Neil Tovey in charge of Mamelodi Sundowns back in 2006. Moved on to Platinum Stars after that. Certainly knows South African football very well. He's assisted at the moment by the Senegalese Musa Ndo.
The clock with that clearing header.
So a corner for Young Africans. Potentially an opportunity to really see what the two centre halves are made of, as that one is cleared behind. As coming back at goal. Zito Konika does enough to divert it away from Tumlinkune's posts. And it's a third corner in succession now.
The defender.
So they work it in short. Mart puts that behind. The pressure is building. The volume is rising. Tumlinkune imploring his teammates to switch on here. It will be yet another take from Yahaya. Yahaya, the midfielder. And that one is ballooned over, and a little bit of respite for the visiting Chiefs now. And again, it's the captain, Bakari Nondo.
Yeah.
Magneto gets his head to it. He's been with the club now for a few years, 3 years in fact, since joining from Coastal Union.
One of the few who were a regular in that team that progressed all the way to the final.
Correct.
That are in this starting lineup, which is a little bit of a surprise for me. Did they let that many players go? And I guess there were hot cakes in the market. There were hot potatoes in the market. These players having done that well, or is it just a change?
It's partly that, but also, as has been the case for a few years prior to this particular friendly is the day where the players are introduced, unveiled, and not that they didn't know that they had ended up at the club, but it's a chance for the fans to get a first real look at those new recruits.
It's always a big occasion for any new player.
That is a lovely take out of the air. Just not the right kind of ball from Kibwana Shimari.
It'll be nice to see right from the onset what Kaizer Chiefs brings in as far as the style. That build-up style from the back. The clock here getting caught. It's a foul in his favor, luckily. Here's another thing. I'm trying to think that whether this will be a wise move, but it doesn't really matter. It's a friendly game. You're testing what you've been working on in training, in as far as whether you can handle the pressure that comes with the building from the back. So it's a good start to be able to try it in a difficult environment like this one, playing against a top team in the continent. But it'll be nice to give these players that are new that fresh start and that good feel about donning the black and gold color of Kaizer Chiefs.
The black and gold, that we must point out once again, is just a training kit.
Tuesday is a big day, by the way.
Tuesday is the big day. Kaizer Chiefs back with a brand that they performed ever so well in the late 80s into early 90s. Prolific out in Zambia. And many will point to their losing efforts in the semi-finals of the National Cup. I mean, he could have put them ahead against rivals Orlando Pirates.
The header.
Yeah.
Oh, man. You know, let's just say it was his first season, but when you come with a big tag like that, you know, you expect it to leave it right from the beginning. And there's a chance this season around to continue to do so. Just trying to look at the top of the formation. I think he's the one that is supposed to play on top this evening, in the absence of all the other attacking players that are still to join the team.
Yeah, without Dolly at the moment, Ashley Dupree has an injury. Ranka Chivaviro, the new signing who's not in the team today, as Tanzaniain lifts it in. Ed Nielsen won't be able to help it back into a dangerous area, but a nice idea from them. Even without some of younger attacking options, Wandile Duba is also not available for today's match. Well, out on the left, waiting for that cross to come in, and it does, but it's been headed over by the Zambian Kennedy Musonda.
Yeah, he tries to attack the goal, but it was like an inch or so higher. And I think Msimang was close to him, that needed to make sure that he doesn't get a full touch. See, what Chiefs has done very well in this moment is kept the crowd quiet. They haven't really given the all to Yanga to, you know, come up with guns blazing and the space to be able to operate and turn them upside down, which obviously is what the crowd needs right now, a little bit of voice of that nature to get behind the team. And which will be very strange for Kaizer Chiefs. Even if they do well, they create a moment going forward. There's no...
Now Modi gets a good ball in. And Putsani was arriving at that near post, steering it just wide.
Cleverly so.
Yep.
I like his anticipation. Obviously, it's expected to come a little bit wider, but he attacks that central part. He gets in between the defenders. He gets a decent touch ahead of the defenders, which only failed to direct it towards goal. A great opportunity for Kaizer Chiefs. But surprisingly, once again, there's no reaction from the stands, which I said will be a big surprise for Chiefs, something that they're not used to.
That is an area of Putsani's game that he knows he needs to work on, contributing in terms of goals, actually sticking the ball away. Molefi Ntseki did say prior to this match with the host broadcaster that Kaizer Chiefs are used to big crowds, but they are not used to a big crowd that is rooting against them.
Yes. But which he also went on to say it'll be a good experience for these players because now their dreams is to be able to feature in the Champions League.
Yeah.
And that will be the nature if you're going to go up north into some of those giants of African football. So you're a total stranger regardless how big you are in your own home ground.
Well, the last time they featured in the CAF Champions League, they'd make it all the way to the final where they sadly lost out. But en route to that showpiece, they came across the Tanzanian side, that being Simba, in the quarterfinals. They did lose 3-0 here in Tanzania, but they had got a 4-0 win at home that actually took them through to the semi-finals. Dansani lets the ball run away from him. It's pounced upon here by Yahaya. He's set Musonda on his way. That ball in, comfortably cleared away from danger. Well positioned was Castillo.
Once again, look at how he was able to hold that ball regardless of the pressure around him. That for me is one factor of his game that I'm sure will come through very well.
Oh! Well, it certainly wasn't meant to test Itumelengkune. That was intended as a cross from Mugurabelo, who's having the freedom of that left-hand flank. Tipped over by the veteran goalminder.
That is Kune at his best. Once again, Mugurabelo is not too happy, though. He nearly got the better of Kune in that moment, but he's not happy. He meant to actually swing it as a cutback.
Just skewed off his boot a little. That was the fifth corner for Young Africans, another that they played short. Castillo's out to apply the pressure again. He's looked very busy. He's got a good work rate. Happy to get back when necessary. Forward when he needs to as well. Will it excite the fans that he's a recruit from Venezuela? Will it summon memories of Jose Torrealba? And I mention him because the current coach of Young Africans, Gamondi, was the man who helped bring him to Sundowns originally. How's that? Here he is on the ball, Castillo. Good signs already.
As you say it. As you say it. You know the story.
Molefi Ntseki getting his big opportunity at the helm of a club side. He has managed club football before, that was quite some time ago, and not in the top flight. But he's been with the Kaizer Chiefs structures for the past couple of years as the head of technical and youth development. As this one is overcooked, will it be collected on the far side? Not to be for Young Africans. Chance goes a begging.
think it was Musonda who actually made the cross to nobody basically in the box, because he's the one that's supposed to avail himself. But you still expect the like of the youngster Sengeli to get into that box when the top striker is not in there. So that didn't work out well.
Zingeli is the right wing, so yeah, you're right to point out he would be the man that would be crossing for Musonda. Zingeli is one of the new recruits, 23-year-old from the Democratic Republic of Congo. Picked him up from Maniema, his homeland. This is Dennis Nkane now. Nahaya has to find an option in midfield in the form of Bagere. Just waiting for those spaces to materialize.
I mean, last season, I mean, the DRC is a good place for Yanga to pick up some of their players. I mean, almost half the team comes from there. They're the team that gave them so much success in the Champions League. I'm talking Bangala, that is Yannick from the DRC, featured very prominently. Mutambali is another. Shabani, the left full back, is another.
Was given away by Castillo. It's at the feet of Nzingeli, and he's turned that over to Yahaya, who blasted it well over the crossbar from range.
Mudatir, star in that middle of the park, going forward for Yanga. Key player in the national team as well. And his experience, of course, is that he knows the moments to push forward and into those pockets of spaces. Most experience in that team, possibly.
Yeah, good experience with young Africans and on the international front. At just 27 years of age, he's a key member of the squad. It's hoisted out to Edmilson Doves. Let it get away from him, and it's an opportunity for Nkane to burst forward. Now, Shamari was located on the flank. It's back to him. He's worked in the cross. Not well cleared, and then just tried to toe that towards goal. It's Musonda. Yeah, Makura Bela involved as well.
I think it's Makrubela that got to it first.
Yeah,
brings it under control, but not completely. He seems to knock it to Musonda more than controlling it for himself. And Musonda nearly sneaks ahead and just touches it into the back of the net, but the ball trickles away for a goal kick.
Clockway to Simang. Castillo. Giving him Simango back to Tumile Nkune. New recruit at centre half, captained TS Galaxy last season. They had a bit of an indifferent season, but he stood out as one of the key performers and also an ever-present. One of only two ever-presents in the entire division. There he is again on the ball. One of those that was retained by TS Galaxy when they bought the status of Highlands Park. Has just been nodded down to Yusuf Mart. Good work from Modi. He's rolled it across goal. It'll be collected by Mdum Dansane. Kunika. That's Putsani. Flick through for Zito Kunika. Just didn't have the legs to reach it. Kaizer Chiefs have endured 8 barren years, longest trophy drought in the club's history. Young Africans come into this season on the back of a league and cup double, call it a treble if you include the Community Shields. They have won the last 2 league titles, putting an end to the dominance of their rival Simba, who had won it 4 years in succession prior to that. Over the last 9 years, league titles only been won by Yanga and Simba since a 2014 league victory for Azam FC, also hail from Dar es Salaam. These are the two clubs that monopolize the league title.
I guess the younger fans finally got some joy, and I can imagine just the trauma that they were going through, having missed out on the cup for so long, with the Simba fans who obviously enjoy the beating of Yanga every time. And so is Yanga. When they get to beat Simba, it's like a celebration. Almost like the Kaizer Chiefs and the Orlando
It is, yeah, very similar. Castillo with a little bit of pressure, gets it out of his feet to Msimango once again. Tumlinkuni to Yusuf Mart, checks the review mirror. Nice touch from Pule Mori. This is what he's capable of. He's gone flying forward here. Dispensed into the path of Christian Sahile, who thrashed it into the 18-yard area without too much purpose, just trying to put a ball in.
Unfortunately, that's the case, which I think happens a lot in our football.
Now Sonder's on the move. Again, he's out on the flank, and he's managed to drive his way into the box, and then a misplaced pass sees the move come to nothing. This will be collected by Quinica.
I like what I've already seen from Modi. Not that I didn't like what I saw when he was at Arrows, but you know, some players, when they move to a higher profile team than the team they play for, they tend to disappear. It's only the first game,
yeah,
but this is very impressive.
And not yet an official debut for any of these new recruits. They'll also be on the road once again, going to Botswana's capital, Gaborone, to play Township Rollers next weekend. But first official fixture, an opportunity for his players to make an actual Kaizer Chiefs debut, comes against Chippa United on the 6th of August. And then, as was the case last season, fairly early into the campaign, they have a massive showdown with Mamelodi Sundowns. They'll be on the road in the capital midweek, following that opening weekend.
Yeah, sometimes you think to yourself, you know what, these type of games are a little bit too early in the season to
right.
the two sides to clash. You want them to build a little bit of momentum and get some game time behind them, because when they get into that game, they're still a little bit cagey.
Yeah.
But you know what?
Met Sundowns early last season, lost 4-0. A chastening defeat that I guess ultimately did set the tone for their campaign.
And you don't want that to be the case, eh?
Yeah.
But hey, it's what you've been putting in the season, in as far as preparation is concerned. So everybody's facing the same situation. It's just that for Mamelodi Sundowns, obviously the champions, they'll be carrying that, they'll be bringing that with them. Kaizer Chiefs a very disappointing season, and they need quite a little bit of build-up. The positive momentum to now suddenly be able to go into a game like that.
Yeah.
You need that feel-good experience.
Indeed, finished 5th in the DSTV Premiership. Although towards the tail end of the season, they were still in the reckoning of the outsiders to be runners-up. Place eventually claimed by their rivals Orlando Pirates. There's a free kick that goes in favor of young Africans. Atumile Nkune is off his line, charging at the referee to, I guess, dispute the call that has come.
It'll be nice to see it again, because I'm not sure exactly what happened there. If there was contact at all from Castillo. Not much. It's the usual shoulder charge.
Maybe the hand on the shoulder. So
earlier, but by the time he fell, that hand was long gone.
Our referee, Tatu Mwalogo, hails from the port city in the northeast of Tanzania, Yanga, has ruled in favor of young Africans here. It also does seem to be a problem for Edmilson Dove. Expect to see a lot of changes made over the course of this game from both teams. Coach Gamondi has already alluded to the fact that some of those in his younger squad will only have the legs for about 20 minutes or so, and so
mm.
that's as long as we're likely to see some of the players come on for a little bit later.
Which will be mainly a part of the team that was there last. And unfortunately, Gamonde would not have, as we see Makurubela here turning it on like he knows how to, which the supporters laughed.
Never really rose to the heights expected of him when he joined Orlando Pirates, but as you already alluded to earlier when you were making reference to Pule Modi, sometimes not every player is able to handle the, I guess, the brighter lights. By the way, speaking of all the changes that could potentially come, Kaizer Chiefs have 13 players on the bench, and it's good to see Kusipile Ngobo is back amongst those subs after an injury-blighted season. So from quite a long way out, so they're going to try and work it into the area from the left-hand side. Putsani has been beaten, although he's recovered well, to just try and hamper Yanga's progress on their left-hand flank. Oh, that is a lovely bit of skill and great awareness as well. Hoisted in, but rather poorly. Now worked out to Shumai. Good tackle from Dove, who is not really wearing the ill effects of that earlier injury that was being treated only a matter of minutes ago. We've gone past the half-hour mark here at the Benjamin Mkapa Stadium. 60,000 capacity, a venue that was inaugurated more than a decade and a half ago, and it will be the centerpiece, I guess, of the joint bid that Tanzania are making with Kenya and Uganda for the 2027 African Cup of Nations. They'll be up against stiff competition amongst the other potential hosts. Egypt, who have hosted plenty times before. I look at the bigwigs in terms of young Africans, younger presidents, Hirsi Ali Said, still a fairly young man in terms of, I guess, club ownership or on the continent. Big ambitions for the team. Oh, given away. Not capitalized on.
With the team. Something that maybe we haven't spoken about, the condition of the pitch. Beautiful.
Yeah.
But it looks a little bit on the heavy side. Very spongy.
It's been torn up in the areas that are being frequented a little more often than others, yeah. Especially down the flanks, you can see.
So that obviously has that element of heaviness about it, which can be very detrimental in as far as the fitness levels of these players. Yeah. Remember, they're still, putting it in. It's not quite there, and just how many of them can actually give it a good go? I mean, we heard Gamondi talking about only over 10 days that he's been with the team, and I'm not sure just his fitness levels. The excitement of the atmosphere is what will carry these players on, but at some stage that will also go out of the window.
Fairly useful crossing, given Simango has watched it well. Dansani, perpetrator of that foul. Yanga have taken it quickly. More skills from none other than Makurubela. Still so fresh-faced, despite being in his early 30s. Yusuf Mart to combine with Potsani. He's dragged down.
Missing in action from what I would have seen them before. Tanzaniain, not so offensive. That's his game. His best game is being able to create movements going forward. I think for the most part is chasing back, helping up in the middle. And if I look at Potsani as well, I think he's been put in that very same scenario where he's not as offensive as you would like him to see, but he's a team player. There are stages of the game where you got to maybe sacrifice a little bit before things open up in your favor. Yeah. At least Mori on the left-hand side has been a bit more effective.
Yeah. Turned in field for Yusuf Mart. Now Yanga will come away with it. Just tracking the movement here, trying to get back into position as the trigger's pulled from long range, and that will just fly wide. Opportunity Kune's upright. But he's feeling it out there, is Makurubela. Castillo collects. Tanzaniain, I guess another element that he's going to add, and Tanzaniain is a penalty-taking ability, so if Bimnimana is potentially moving on, Yusuf Mart has also taken penalties this season. Perhaps he'll be battling with him for the opportunity to score from 12 yards. Kaizer Chiefs in the league last season awarded more penalties than any other side. They converted 8 of 10. Now this is More cutting back inside. Yusuf Mart lifting it over the top.
I've had a word with Yusuf Mart whenever I get to see him, whether in a public space or in the game. I'm like, what is it going to take you? Do you realize the amount of ability you have when it comes to long-range shots? And you're not using it. And that for me was exactly one. Obviously, people talk about the goal that he scored in the derby, but I think he's got bigger potential just taking real strikes.
Yeah.
You know, from that 45 yards area. But it seems to now and then he's not sure of himself.
And what better time to do it than in a pre-season friendly? You get some confidence for the rest of the campaign as this ball goes in. Not held at the first time of asking, but Itumeleng Kune eventually gathers. And that's where you want to see Kennedy Mosonda. A little too robust in his efforts to win that. Just a failure.
Over enthusiastic.
Yeah. Taking down Bakari Nondo. The Onawachi Day spectacle has always produced goals in the past. We've gone over some of those results, which haven't always gone in Yanga's favour. But last year, lost 2-0 to Vipers FC of Uganda. I mentioned they were behind 27 seconds into their tyres. This ball is threaded between the two centre halves. Potsani racing onto that, but well read by the goalkeeper, Mnata.
Did very well. You see, that's a challenge for goalkeepers. When you're not that active for the most part of the game, you tend to fall asleep, lose concentration. And when a situation like this comes into action, then you find yourself, you're found wanting because you have not been in the game. Your focus is not where it needs to be.
Well controlled by Pule Mori. Still Mori driving towards the byline. He's forced the goalkeeper to intervene. So just making mention of some of those Onawachi Day results. Lost in 2022 and in 2021 they welcomed Zambia's Zanaco here to Dar es Salaam. They were defeated 2-1 in the game which actually had the lead as they get forward here looking to give themselves the advantage in this game, which remains at 0-0 currently. The only victory they've got in Onawachi Day friendly was back in 2020 against Burundi's Black Eagles, a 2-0 win. 2019 a draw with Kariobangi Sharks of Kenya. At least this friendly always produces goals. I don't want that to change today. Yanga seeing a lot of the ball. Dixon Job to centre half. Partner, that being Makari Nono.
Featured very prominently last season, Job. So another one of those very experienced in starting.
Left it out to the left-hand flank. This is where they've enjoyed a lot of success. Stretching to make that intervention has fallen kindly here and set up well for Musonda, forcing a save out of Itumeleng.
Don't necessarily have to use your hands all the time. That ball caught him not necessarily flat-footed, but he didn't have time to react with his hands. He used his body. Got a good deflection with his knees.
Musonda again, trying to get past Dove. Attempts to pass the fullback might have come at some personal cost. Let's see if there was an arm flung up. Seemed to indicate.
Stepped on him.
Yeah, there we go.
And Dove knew exactly what happened.
Yeah.
That's why he didn't bother to try and make a game out of it. And sportingly plays the ball out for Musonda to be treated.
Jonas Mkude in your shot just briefly, the 30-year-old who spent so many years at Simba. Here's a look at the save made by Itumeleng at his near post. Laid into the path of Musonda really well. It was set for him nicely. Yes, the angle was against him, but still able to fire off a shot and hit the target. Kaizer Chiefs had a late flight out of South Africa on Thursday evening. He landed in fairly early hours of the morning in Tanzania, Friday morning that is. Able to enjoy a full day in Dar es Salaam yesterday. Still struggling a little bit, so this is fairly concerning for Dove. It appears once again to be in the groin region, as was the case earlier when he was treated.
If he were to come out, Hlanti is still available. And because with this type of injuries, I don't think it would be wise for them to keep him on if he's feeling something.
Yeah.
And I think already the bench has responded to getting one of those players to warm up, and it's more likely going to be Hlanti. But Mashiane, who's not available, would have been another option.
Happy Mashiane is actually listed on the team sheets, but Kaizer Chiefs have already confirmed that's not actually technically available to play today. We're seeing a little niggle.
It's the right hand side of the full back position is very rich for Kaizer Chiefs. Frosler is there, so is Solomons.
It was well left by Putsane, but Saile unable to return the ball to him when perhaps he should have. Putsane went darting forward to create an option. A little selfish from Saile. Now Yanga's turn to attack. Continue to have success down the left-hand side, at least until that moment.
I'm just thinking about Siley. He's so fast. maybe too fast for himself. But unfortunately, when you're going to run with the ball that fast, you don't have the time to look up. And I think you've seen in so many different occasions where he runs, and there's Slanty basically, I think he's already made it in. That's the substitution on that left fullback position. Going back to Silas' positions, I've seen him so many times. I mean, he dashes forward with such speed, but then the final ball into whoever is poor. And that's what happens basically if you have that speed and you don't have the time to think or even look up. And that was the case when he lost that ball earlier.
So it's Kaizer Chiefs are forced into the first change of the game, that being Sfiso Hlanti coming on for Edmilson Dove on the left-hand flank in defence. No point risking him in a friendly game such as this, when Sfiso Hlanti would likely have featured in any case in the second half, as I'm sure many of those on the bench will do. Pretty exciting bench for Kaizer Chiefs this evening. So 2 minutes added, Tumile Nkune managing to latch onto that looped in cross. Sani down under the challenge. Looking to find Pule Mori on the opposite flank. He's been beaten to the ball in the air. It's with Yusuf Mart and now Sfiso Hlanti though. He's done well to nip in there. Zingele win the ball back for Yanga and set them away on the attack. Flag stays down. Oh, that is an absolutely brilliant goal from Kennedy Musonda to open the scoring just shy of the interval. And it all originated from the wonderful steal from Max Nzingele, a new recruit from the DRC.
The calmness to be able to pick the player on the run with a great pass, but also if you think Musonda was faced with a Kune where he could have decided maybe to take him on or to blast him, but opted to just look the ball over beautifully so. And that for me was just the type of composure that you need in a game of this magnitude, to still have a player that is that composed, to still use his brain to see which is the best option. And Kune could do not much from there because he was already way out of his goal line. There was no recovery. He had to try and push forward as quick as he can to try and make the block. It wasn't to be. Great goal. Now, let's look at where the defensive line was. And you see, it's not covered. There's no cover. Obviously, Kune ran across the whole field to try and get to talk to the official on this near side to maybe make a claim that it was an offside. But I'm not too sure. It was there and there, very difficult. But if a player is going to, at that moment, the player on the ball, there was not enough pressure for the two central defenders to push forward, which is what allowed Musonda to run free. You need to try and stay with the runner as long as you can up until a decision has been made with the player on the ball.
Well, that goal comes right before a whistle to signal the end of the first 45. Tumile Nkune is making his feelings known. The defense split open. He was left exposed. And Kennedy Musonda with a superbly executed finish to give young Africans the advantage in front of a partisan home crowd here in Dar es Salaam. So we're likely to see both teams ring the changes in the second 45. The results won't be too important today. Molefi Nseki is mindful of that, and he'll give plenty of those on the bench a run out. But I assume he'll be disappointed to have seen his side concede. It's such a critical stage of the game. So confirming the halftime score at the Benjamin Mkapa Stadium, it is the hosts, Young Africans, who have the lead over Kaizer Chiefs, 1-0. A warm welcome back to the Benjamin Mkapa Stadium in Dar es Salaam, where Young Africans are playing host to Kaizer Chiefs in a friendly game in which the hosts have a 1-0 advantage that came just shy of the interval, courtesy of their Zambian hitman Kennedy Musonda. A really lovely clipped finish over and on-rushing Itumeleng Kune to put them ahead in this tie. The last time they scored a goal in Monoachi Day showpiece was in 2021 against Zanaco. They took the lead against the Zambian side and went on to lose 2-1. So they'll be hoping that they can hold on this time around and give their fans some joy to depart the stadium with as we get back underway. It's a sold-out affair, and many of those in attendance today have actually been here for quite some hours. There have been performances, the official unveiling of the new players. Many fans wearing a new kit for the season as well.
Well, there's been a wholesale change
in terms of their kit. So what they do is there's been wholesale changes in terms of personnel, and they did this last year and I think the year before as well, in terms of just debuting both strips as well for Young Africans. Apparently they can make anywhere from 100 to 200,000 shirt sales over the course of a day like today.
Makes all the sense. This is what big teams do all around the world, obviously, when they unveil new players and the sales from the kit. That's what basically brings the main business. And maybe not so much in South African terms, but I think we see this all over.
Kaizer Chiefs on the front foot here with Potsane. It's just a little too far ahead of Christian Saile. Didn't have the best of the first half. Through neatly into the middle of the park. Let's give Fred, who's one of those who's just come on. Now operating at centre half.
Just looking at the numbers in that half-time break, it was clear that Yanga are controlling the game better. They've created the most chances, found a few on target.
Get forward again once more, and this time turned away by De Klokwe. He'll be heading to his homeland of Botswana next week. Zebra's captain. Now out on the right-hand flank. Two awaiting the cross. Well repelled. Fist forward once again. Big opportunity. And an equally good save from Brandon Peterson, who's freshly on for Itumeleng Kune.
Great save. I mean, that's a point-blank save. And the shot, obviously, a defensive mistake, and got in on the laces, put all the power he had, but excellent deflection from the goalkeeper.
Now another corner goes in. Young Africans had 6 in the first half as compared to Kaizer Chiefs, who didn't have a single corner. Another look at their new coach, Miguel Gamondi, who's spent a lot of time in Morocco recently with Sani Agadir as their technical director, as well as Wydad Casablanca in the very same capacity.
I wonder what tempted him to get back into the hot seat. You know, when you're a technical director, you can get away with a lot. But I guess the money must have been tempting.
There's a lot of pressure on de Klokwe there. So well to hoist that clear. Now Yusuf Mart. No nonsense defending from Gift Fred. Tanzaniain applying the pressure. It's a gorgeous piece of skill to avoid him.
Pressure is mounting, Grant. The width is what I like most about the Yanga, is they really are delivering to the wide areas, and the players there are doing the job of bringing those crosses in, and Kaizer central defenders are under a lot of pressure having to deal with the crosses. The movement has gotten better, the sharpness of the passes has also improved from the home side. The Chiefs, mainly it's just to manage the situation for now.
So from Tanzaniain, spotted movement, and the flag has been raised on this near side by Frank Komba. Pule Mori making the dart in behind.
Goalkeepers are late one more time. That's another ball played into the wide areas again, successfully.
A lovely exchange of passes. And hacked clear by Gunsimango. Here they come again, do Yanga, looking to make the connection in Gushi.
With a teeter out. See him sit on the bench. And the players between the Showboy and Aucho, the two midfielders, I think they made it in. Still have to confirm that for you.
Zize is down at the moment. In the meantime, Kaizer Chiefs have made a change of their own. Seeing the introduction of Siatim Sitebe. Just imparting some instructions to Tanzaniain. Tebe on for Yusuf Mart. There'll be more changes made, given that Simango is one of those coming off. So that we'll see Jabula Ngobo onto the field, and Christian Saile making way. Kosikvile Ngobo is on. Seems like he's used this time in the physician's room, the physio room, to just beef up a little bit. Yeah, that's what I've always wanted to see from him.
It looks like there's a little bit more muscle than we last saw him. And with the muscle gain, sometimes the speed tends to be a problem. I just hope he's been able to maintain it.
I was going to say he was never a particularly fast player over longer distances. Maybe a dart, a little burst, quickness rather than pace.
Agility also.
Sometimes for a player like that who's not known for being particularly fast, the muscle gain actually might not work to his detriment. It might help him a little bit to be a yard quicker.
Be able to hold on to the ball a lot longer because of the lack of speed. So he needs that muscle to be able to shield the ball away from the opposition.
Also have Duzi Shabalala, rather, is onto the park. Some really skillful players have been introduced.
Indeed, missing the fluidity of the game from a Kaizer's point of view in that first half. And I guess bring the changes alongside some of those players that we know can play quite a bit, and they can actually build the game and get everybody going, and which makes a lot of sense for me. And we are obviously to see if that does happen. But it's very positive changes made by the coach.
It's Peterson. Launched forward, and the chase is on here. Set back nicely. Ngobo strikes it. Well, it fell to his stronger left foot, but just didn't make the right kind of connection.
No, not at all. As he ran onto it, I thought, wow, here's an opportunity that could possibly maybe beat the goalkeeper, but he seems to miscue the shot. I mean, it deflected from the defender, but there was no real power behind it. Still, I would say positive from a Kaiser's point of view to at least have a shot in the right direction. But the other thing that I like, look at the team structure for me. I mean, how many players are in that front foot in trying to slow down any movement from the midfield or defensive line to build up from Kaiser? That is very positive.
Well, Musa didn't get that pass right, but it still put Chiefs under pressure. Reef Frosler is also onto the park at the moment. Headed away. Who will collect first? It's been seized upon by Tanzaniain, but that hand may have been used. It's actually Pulemori in that instance. A fairly tricky free kick for Kaizer Chiefs to contend with here.
Depending on the wall, Peterson's got to deal with the position of the wall and make sure that he's mindful of the far post. But depending on if it's a left-footed player that's going to take it, yes, it is.
Easily claimed by Peterson.
Poorly taken.
Yeah.
I had the privilege to be in Gavin for the Kosovo Cup, and we saw some beautiful set pieces taken. Too much power placed into the ball by Ungogo as he looked to spray that ball into the wide. That's another instance again. You see how Kaizer are closing that central part of their attacking there. This is where I think in the first half Yanga dominated from in their build-up play. It's decisions like this when you see them, when you see a coach making a decisive move in trying to neutralize the opposition in certain areas, that for me is most impressive because it means that the bench is reading the action very nicely.
Just a little too much weight on that pass. Nicely done by Yanga. Now, has it stayed in? It hasn't, according to the official on the far side. That's Yanat Bulama.
Only belatedly. As the flag goes up.
Frosler. Clever from Tanzaniain. Not able to latch onto that one with Ibrahim Hamid, otherwise known as Baka, going down under the late challenge. Hamid receives from Gefred. Lamusa.
Looking to find a way in.
Just trying to re-establish their rhythm after all of those changes that were made. The Kaizer Chiefs only had one shot in the first half, and that was off target. That was Tupohoputsane at the near post, putting that wide. Young Africans, on the other hand, managed 3 on target from 5 shots in total over the first 45 minutes of the match. Nicely cushioned in field by Rui Frosler for Pule Mori. This is Sitebe. It's laid out wide for an oncoming Hlanti, trying to link up with his opposite fullback. And necessarily turned behind for a Kaizer Chiefs corner kick, and a player lurking in the form of Modi. So I haven't really seen what they've been able to do from set pieces in this match. And it will be Shabalala who takes Kaizer Chiefs' first corner of the game. 19-year-old puts it in towards the near post. It's set up nicely. Can't direct it through a thicket of bodies. Yes, Castillo, 29-year-old Venezuelan. He's playing for Monagas. twice in his homeland prior to being recruited by Kaizer Chiefs. Peterson. Now De Klokwe linking up with Ngobo. Defender of the season, 2 campaigns back in the colours of Swallows, who've returned to their original name of Morocco Swallows in the past fortnight or so.
The Beds.
Yeah. They have former Amakosi coach at their helm now.
You hope it'll be the season that they'll fly high. They've been flying low.
Yeah.
Big but low. And there's little signs though that gives us the feeling that something big is coming.
Apart from Ranga Chivaviro, Kaizer Chiefs fans getting an opportunity to look at all their new recruits this evening, some of whom remain on the field. Many of whom are actually still playing. It's given him Simango's been sacrificed for Ngobo just after the half-time break. Kaizer Chiefs making all their changes early in the second half. Yanga came out with wholesale changes.
They might not be effective going forward, at least for now, Yanga. But I like the usage of the ball. You know how they're keeping that level of position with a reasonable amount of safety, recycling it from one channel to the other, looking to find the one channel that will be open in the process. But I like Kaizer Chiefs as well, the high press that they're creating. They're not going to allow Yanga to have that much luxury time on the ball in as far as their build-up play is concerned.
Bit of a miscued pass from Castillo. The ball with Yanga now. Worked out of his feet really well. Now Farid Musa over to Lomusa. Foot race on. Little nudge from Ngobo. That's within the bounds of the law, and that's behind for a goal kick.
It's nice to see him back as well.
Yeah.
Didn't see much game time last season.
Lomusa back to his goalkeeper. Very comfortable at the back. Young Africans. Now they've worked some space to exploit on the right-hand flank. Easily dealt with. Really comfortable from Ngobo. This is Reef Frosler looking for an outlet. Control, good work from Pulimori. The idea was there.
Yes, but the pass, he was making a run inside and the ball was played wide, which made it difficult for him to turn around and make the chase. But in fact, in the effort of doing so, he slipped.
Exciting Shabalala, Castillo. Erroneous pass. There's potentially an option emerging on the right-hand side. Reef Rossler pulled Ngushi back. Gifred. Lovely control from Ngushi. Teasing Frosler, trying to work the angle for a shot. He's laid it on brilliantly. Oh!
You gotta love their build-up play. I mean, that's why he gets some appreciation from the bench, because for me, it didn't look like they were going anywhere, but slowly but surely they made their way into those dangerous areas with a good passing game, good movement of the ball, and eventually the ball that matters, which is always what you're looking for. To be patient enough to allow the runs from deep in the middle to come.
Lots of fierce hits from Mauya, who now wears the captain's armband. Finally making a change in the goalkeeping department with Diarra onto the park.
Yeah, the number one.
Every other position had been changed after the interval.
Itachi will be happy with himself that while he was in for Diarra, he didn't concede. Big boost.
Yeah. Sent out wide to Hlanti.
Clearly missing from Kaizer in that structure is the out and out striker. Yeah. In that forward lines. There's no point of reference. It's everybody trying to run in at the time where they think maybe the ball will arrive. So everything that they build basically doesn't quite have an ending because of them missing a target man.
Well, that would have been Ranga Chibabiro. Was he available? Players slipping. Zize, the latest to go to ground, completely off the ball. Picked up here by Lomalisa Mtumbala, 30-year-old from the Congo. Very adventurous fullback.
Maybe the tempo seems to have dropped, but the quality of the passes has improved. I mean, there are moments where they can hold that ball for longer periods. Yanga, that for me is of the new changes made, of course, of the more best team players.
So Edson Castillo will be making way. Just over a quarter hour left to play. There will be 3 changes with Sabelo Khadebe being introduced.
In the place of Tanzaniain.
Tanzaniain, Modi, Castillo are off. Kamohelo Mahlatsi, Khadebe. Onto the park, as well as Samkelo Zwane. This is Baka. Zambala managed to keep it alive. Decent cross in. Good save from Peterson to deny Zize. It's a lovely cross from the left-hand flank. Now ball incoming from the right.
He had to come up with a brilliant save. That ball was deceiving because he thought maybe it's good enough, it's close enough for him to come out. But halfway through, he realized that he was swinging away and recovered fully into his position. And boy, did he react well to that. Close range.
He's made two really good saves already, has Brandon Peterson. Between he, Bruce Buma and Tumeleng Kune had by far the highest save percentage of the three last season in the DStv Premiership. Livinseki scribbling notes. Zwane at his side. He's taken the demotion in his stride. Well,
yesterday, I had the privilege to question the chairman what influenced the changes and so on. That, of course, if you want to hear about that, you're going to have to pay me some money. That is a scoop. I mean, it was really interesting to just get it from the boss himself and what prompted that. And people are talking a whole lot about how Chiefs turned down Nabi, the former Yanga coach. But hearing again from the boss all the clarity about that was very interesting.
Now Khadebe latches back onto it, having done so well a little earlier on, and Samkelo Zwane, who's yet to score a senior goal for Kaizer Chiefs, has blazed that over. Promising talent is Zwane.
Look, from that point of view, Kaizer Chiefs are looking good. He hasn't opened yet.
Oh, they've carved them open, and they needed a much, much better ball than that.
Is it Msiza again? From what it looked like for me, I think he was a little bit early. I mean, the defenders were still running across to try and fill up that. And at such a time, before a defender commits, and you want also the goalkeeper at some stage to try and come out, and before you can try to lift the ball. That could have given the chance to the player running on the far side time to get a little bit closer to goal.
Oh, an opportunity for Kaizer Chiefs. That's well handled by Diarra. Duzi Shabalala having a go.
You got to start thinking now as a coach. This is the first real competitive game that you've played, except for a few friendlies when they're out in Bombela with the first division sides and some ABC Motsipe League teams. It's like, what can you see? Any positives? And I'm sure the fans out there are beginning to think in that format as well. Yes, it's the first game, but you've got to at least pick up one or two things that are positive. For me, the structure, just the shifting of the midfield players, the compactness on how the team looks, and that is very positive. But still, if you were to consider how much going forward, you can't say much because the attacking players that you're hoping would have been there are not there. So it's difficult to be able to judge them from that point of view, which explain the lack of quality going forward. But another game in Botswana, maybe some of those players would have made their way back, and I think we can take a little bit more from that game.
Retrieved here by Mutumbala. Felt the presence of Mahlati. Collected by the 28-year-old Mahuya. Obo, Ditlokwe. It's a good take. Nicely dispensed into space here for Mahlati to latch onto it. And an excellent, excellent tackle from Mutumbala. Congolese defender has really looked good since coming onto the park at half-time from both a defensive and an attacking perspective.
One of the player that was substituted, he's the number one in that position.
Yeah, for sure.
Relevant, and you can see Tumbala in the way that he's reacting to situations is more influential, not only defensively but also going forward. He overlaps, provides a lot of width.
The ball taken away from the feet of Shabalala, and Young Africans flying forward here. Potentially an opportunity for them, and the ball getting away from Zuzwa. It's an offside call in any case. Gush. Still he continues on. Well into the final 10 minutes here. Young Africans looking for a goal that will wrap this up. Ngobo has it stolen away from him. Fred. Baka. Mutumbala. Mahlati out to meet him. Turned in field by Farid Musa. Space for Mutumbala. Try and measure the cross.
Since Mahlati came in, he's been forced to do more defensive work. And this is basically Mutumbala's influence, because when he gets the ball, he doesn't waste time, he pushes forward. So as a wide attacking player, you're forced to chase back.
So another two players who are regulars for the side. Awucho is coming on, as well as Aziz Ki. Both influential in the CAF Confederation Cup last season.
These are internationals. Look, Awucho features for Uganda prominently.
And he's already intercepted well here. Set Yanga on their way once again. He just wants to slow things down. Farid Musa. Gushi. Clever.
an element of Ngobo's game that maybe sometimes now and then doesn't help him. I think he reacted out of frustration there, as he put a little bit of his boot, a bit more than he would have.
Oh yeah,
wanted.
for sure.
Oh, quality that.
Now swung in, dangerous looking ball. Fairly comfortably dealt with. Nazwane.
It'll be interesting to see him in his second season at Kaizer,
Yeah.
having been given the opportunity by Umangete, the older Mangete.
Yeah. Came close to opening his account for Kaizer Chiefs on several occasions last season.
It's not doubt about his quality, but now we want to see growth now. Might have gone away with a few things last season. He's young, his first season, and maybe. But now, now is the time. Oh, good turn.
Lovely little turn. Wasn't he more than willing to fling those crosses in from rather deep? Last season only Sokoto put in more crosses for Kaizer Chiefs than Swisotlanti. Picked up by Khadebe. Sitebe. Mahlati wants it again. No one really waiting inside the 18-yard area. Shabalala was there, but he's not really going to challenge aerially.
I'd like to see a bit more of Mahlati, which is what I've seen while he's still at Super. Was that type of winger that takes the fullbacks on and does. I haven't seen him once trying to do that, because you can't ping a ball from so far wide and expect to get somebody in that box. You've got to cut in a little bit narrow before you can maybe cut it back. So that's where you need your ability and the skill to be able to minus that player. You need that little bit of aggression to get beyond that fullback, and that's not happening. That's too just ongoing. You can play like this the whole night and not get nothing out of it. For me, maybe it's another area that a coach can look into going forward. Is Kaizer Chiefs now that we want to see a bit of aggression. Yes, you understand it's the first game of the season. The legs maybe can't quite carry you to that next level, but these are the things that you can pick up and say, okay, we did this. What was lacking? What can you improve on? That wide area for me, the width is not opening up, and the aggression towards the fullback is not enough.
Yanga have only previously kept one clean sheet in 4 previous Manachi Day matches. That's against Burundi's Black Eagles in August of 2020. 2-0 victory that they got then. Rather aimless pass. Diarra launching it long. Oh, headed away with authority. Nodded down. Home and away kits. Into the final minute now. Retrieved by Baka.
As you can see, a long ball hoofed from the back. Now you expect a big striker to be chasing, to at least hoping to create a second ball scenario. And there was basically nobody, because none of these players in that field play are accustomed to playing at the top of the formation.
Awucho back to his goalkeeper. Keep things steady in these closing moments of the match.
Total control.
Oh, one here by Shabalala. One last opportunity, but the ball given away by Sabelo Khadebe. Wanted to try and set up Ngobo for that long shot. Player he came through the academy with. We've gone past the 3 additional minutes that were added by our match referee today. I feel as though the whistle is imminent here at the Benjamin Mkapa Stadium. Fans have been royally entertained. And there it is. 101 day success for young Africans. They beat Kaizer Chiefs by a 1-0, courtesy of a sublime finish from the Zambian Kennedy Musonda on the stroke of half-time. Both teams made wholesale changes in the second half, giving everyone in the squad a really good run out. Both Yanga and Kaizer Chiefs have introduced their new recruits to the wider public, and it is the hosts from Dar es Salaam that come up trumps today, William Shongwe.
Indeed, I think that was the whole point, being able to give everybody a chance to get a feel what it is into the new season, how far you've gone in as far as picking up your fitness level going into the new season. And competitive game with its kind of atmosphere was all good for everybody that got involved today. I think that was one of the things that the team was looking to be able to achieve. But I think the home team as well looking to stamp their authority as the champions.
Well, both teams came into this high-profile friendly with new head coaches at the helm. Miguel Angel Gamondi in your shot there, really showing that despite a very brief time with the young Africans, he already is making his mark on this powerhouse from East Africa. Work to do for Molefi Ntseki and his Kaizer Chiefs side. They'll be on the road once again, heading to Botswana for another pre-season friendly against Township Rollers next weekend before their league campaign begins the following weekend. Dylan Shepherd in conversation with the Argentine coach.
He must have been one of the players at Mamelodi Sundowns at the time. So
they will know each other.
Yeah.
So confirming the score for you from Dar es Salaam, it's Yanga who edged Kaizer Chiefs by a 1-0, and for the first time in 3 days they enjoy Wananchi Day success.